Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today we are going to dive into one of the most fascinating topics in modern coin collecting, the 2000p Virginia State Quarter, which carries the date 1788. This coin is part of the United States Mint's legendary State Quarter program and has a story that makes it stand out among collectors and treasure hunters alike. The State Quarter program launched in 1999 and ran until 2008, with every state receiving its own unique design on the reverse of the Washington quarter. The year 2000 featured Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, and Virginia. The Virginia design celebrated the founding of Jamestown in 1607 with three ships, the Susan, Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, sailing across the coin's surface. These ships were a symbol of the early colonial beginnings of the United States. The obverse still featured George Washington's profile designed by John Flanagan, but the mint mark and the date 2000 appear along with the inscription 1788, the year Virginia ratified the Constitution. Now, what makes the 2000p Virginia quarter so interesting is not only its design but the variety of conditions and mint errors that have been discovered. Collectors are always looking for proof coins, high-grade mint state examples, and especially error coins that can command huge prices at auction. Let us start with the basics. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins, which means that a typical circulated Virginia quarter from 2000 might only be worth its face value of 25 cents. However, once you find a coin in uncirculated condition graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC at levels MS66, MS67, or even higher, then the value begins to climb rapidly. For example, common mint state pieces might bring just a few dollars, but high-grade examples at MS67 have been known to sell in the range of $50 to $100, and when you get into the rare territory of MS68, which is nearly flawless, you are talking about prices of several $100, sometimes pushing over $1,000 at major auctions. Error coins are where the story gets even more exciting. Collectors have discovered double die, obverse, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even some dramatic die breaks or cuts on the Virginia State Quarter. Some of these mint errors can range from $50 for minor mistakes all the way up to several $1,000s for rare and dramatic examples. One of the most popular varieties is a strong double die that shows doubling on the words and design details. If you ever come across a coin like that in change or in a collection, you may be holding something worth hundreds of dollars instantly. Now let's talk about the modern coin market and what these coins are worth today in 2025. While common circulated examples remain at face value, the interest in pristine quarters has grown because collectors are putting together complete 50-state quarter sets with top-graded examples. Registry sets are highly competitive, so prices for the best specimens remain strong. A Virginia quarter graded at MS68 can still sell for well over $1,000 depending on demand and appeal. Errors also continue to hold strong market interest, with rare examples still commanding big premiums. So what does this mean for you? If you have jars of change or old coin rolls sitting around, it may be worth taking a closer look. Those 2000p Virginia quarters may just be hiding in there, and if you spot one that looks particularly sharp or unusual, it could be worth sending in for grading or authentication. In summary, the 2000p Virginia quarter dated 1788 is not only a piece of American history but also a treasure for collectors in today's market. While the majority may be common pocket change, the gems in top condition or with mint errors are worth big money, from a few hundred to even thousands of dollars. So always check your coins carefully, because you never know what kind of treasure is hiding in plain sight. We are diving into one of the most interesting and often overlooked coins in United States history, the 1981 D Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin might look like any ordinary quarter that you could find in your pocket change, but collectors and numismatists know that certain examples of this coin can actually be worth far more than just 25 cents. Some can even bring in big money in today's coin market, depending on their condition, rarity, and special features. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin was originally intended to be a one-year commemorative issue, but it was so popular that it continued as the regular quarter design. By the time we get to 1981, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for almost 50 years. The 1981 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why you will see a small letter D mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse side of the coin. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint produced over 356 million of these quarters in 1981, which makes it a very common coin in circulation. With such a high mintage, you might be wondering how a 1981 D quarter could possibly be worth more than its face value. Well, that's where condition, grading, and rare errors come into play. Most circulated examples of the 1981 D quarter that you might find in your change are worth only face value, which is 25 cents. However, uncirculated examples that have been well preserved can be worth much more. When a coin is graded by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, the grade reflects how well the coin has been preserved. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect mint state coin. For the 1981 D quarter, examples graded mint state 65 or higher start to gain value. In average uncirculated condition, these coins can be worth anywhere from $2 to $10. In higher grades such as MS-67, the value can jump significantly, with prices ranging from $100 all the way up to several $100s depending on the market demand. The true key is finding one of these coins in immaculate condition with minimal marks or blemishes. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Certain error coins from 1981 are worth a lot of money. Collectors pay a premium for coins that have striking errors, planchet errors, or minting mistakes. Some known errors on 1981 D quarters include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets. Depending on the type and severity of the error, values can range from $50 all the way up to thousands of dollars for rare and dramatic mistakes. Another important factor to mention is that these coins were struck in a composition of copper-nickel clad, with a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper and nickel. They are not silver coins, which sometimes confuses new collectors. Silver quarters were last struck for circulation in 1964, so if you see a 1981 D quarter, it will always be copper-nickel clad unless it was struck on the wrong planchet, which would be a very valuable mint error. So what is the current market value of the 1981 D quarter today? As of now, circulated coins are only worth their face value. Uncirculated coins in mint state 63 to mint state 65 generally sell for a couple of dollars each. Higher grades like MS-67 can fetch between $200 and $500. Extremely rare examples in MS-68, which are nearly perfect, have sold at auction for over $1,000. Error coins, depending on rarity and collector interest, can bring in even more, sometimes several $1,000s if the error is dramatic and eye-catching. When it comes to collecting the 1981 D quarter, most coin collectors are not necessarily chasing after this date unless they are building a complete Washington quarter collection or looking for high-grade examples. However, that's what makes searching for one so exciting. You could have a very ordinary-looking quarter in your pocket change that, if found in pristine condition or with a rare minting error, could actually be worth a lot of big money. To wrap things up, the 1981 D Washington quarter is a coin with a massive mintage, and for most people it will be worth just 25 cents. But for collectors and sharp-eyed treasure hunters, high-grade examples and rare error coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in today's market. If you happen to come across one of these coins, make sure to check its condition, look closely for any unusual features, and consider getting it graded by a professional service if you believe it might be valuable. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 2001 D 1789 First Flight, North Carolina State Quarter. On the surface, it might look like any other modern state quarter, but as we'll see, it harbors nuances that can make all the difference to coin collectors. Let's begin by setting the scene. In 2001, the U.S. Mint launched its popular 50 state quarters program. One of the issues that year was North Carolina's, celebrating the first flight of the Wright brothers in 1789, though the actual date of their flight was 1903, the coin design quotes 1789 as the year the state ratified the Constitution. Each North Carolina quarter reads, North Carolina 1789, First Flight, 2001, E Pluribus Unum, on the reverse, while the obverse features the familiar Washington portrait by John Flanagan. These coins were minted in Denver and bear a D mint mark. Sell Rare Coins Wikipedia. As for mintage numbers, the Denver Mint produced about 427 million of these clad quarters in 2001, so these are abundant and, in general, carry only their face value. Wikipedia. However, the story doesn't end there. There's a silver-proof variety with an S mint mark, part of the silver-proof sets. Those are made of 90% silver and 10% copper. Roughly 889,697 of those were struck, and they tend to fetch $5 to $10 depending on condition. Sell rare coins now. What about mistakes or error coins? Are there any highly valuable versions of this exact 2001 D North Carolina quarter? Interestingly, reputable sources say there are no widely recognized errors for this coin in general circulation. If someone spots something unusual, they're advised to contact a professional, because unless it's graded or authenticated, it's likely still just a 25-cent quarter. Sell rare coins. That said, the broader world of 2001 D state quarters does include a range of collectible errors, particularly in other states like New York, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Kentucky. Examples include missing clad layers, off-center strikes, partial collar errors, die cracks and cuts. The question to ask, are these kinds of errors present on the North Carolina variety? Possibly, but they are very rare and not widely documented for that state. eBay Coin Value Checker Wikipedia +1. Let's zoom out for a moment to understand the broader market for error quarters. One report noted that in 2018, a 2001 D quarter with a strike-through error graded MS-67 sold at auction for $1,020. Another MS-69 quarter with a partial collar error fetched $1,180, and in 2014, a 2001 P quarter graded MS-67 with a dropped letter error sold for $1,070. Coin Value Checker. While those examples don't involve the North Carolina design specifically, they help us understand the kind of premiums error quarters can command, especially when graded in the high mint state range and with visually interesting errors. So if you've got a 2001 D North Carolina quarter that looks unusual, maybe it's missing part of the design, or appears off-center, or exhibits doubling or a die crack, it's worth having it professionally graded by a trusted numismatic service. If it's an authentic error in a high grade, it could well be worth more than its face value, possibly even in the hundreds or low thousands. In short, here's how the values break down: common circulated clad versions, 25 cents face value, silver proof, S, mint mark, variety, $5 to $10 depending on grade. Authenticated high-grade error coins of other 2001 state quarters, often $1,000 plus, North Carolina error varieties, not recognized widely, but if verified, they could follow similar value patterns as above. If you're filming your own video, consider closing with this: always check for mint marks, inspect every coin carefully under good lighting, and for anything unusual, don't hesitate to reach out to a grading expert. Who knows, your quarter could turn into a hidden gem. We are diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting and looking closely at a quarter dollar that has been stirring excitement among collectors and investors alike. We are talking about the 2001 D Vermont State Quarter from the United States Mint, part of the historic 50 State Quarters program, and how certain coins connected to this series can be worth much more than just 25 cents. Let's start with the background. In 1999, the United States Mint launched the 50 State Quarters program. Each year 5 new designs were released, honoring each state in the order they joined the Union. Collectors rushed to get these coins, and for many people it was the first time they paid close attention to the change in their pockets. By 2001 the program was in full swing, and one of that year's standout releases was the Vermont Quarter. It bears the mint mark D when it was struck at the Denver Mint. Along with the date 2001, the reverse design shows maple trees with sap buckets and the Green Mountains, celebrating Vermont's proud maple syrup tradition. Now the interesting part comes when we talk about the value. The standard 2001 D Vermont Quarter in circulation is usually only worth face value, just 25 cents, because millions were minted. However, there are exceptions that transform ordinary pocket change into serious money. These exceptions usually come from mint errors, varieties, or extremely high-grade conditions certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Collectors pay big premiums for coins in pristine condition. For example, a 2001 D Vermont Quarter graded mint state 67 or higher can sell for hundreds of dollars at auction. If you happen to find one in mint state 68, which is nearly flawless, it can bring in more than $1,000. Even scarcer are special proof versions and satin finish coins struck for collectors, which can also command higher values when they are preserved carefully. beyond condition, error coins are the true treasures. Some examples of valuable error 2001 quarters include off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. When one of these error coins shows up at auction, collectors compete fiercely, driving the prices into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic and unique the error is. Imagine holding a simple quarter that turns out to be worth the price of a new phone or even more. The mention of 1791 often appears because 1791 was the year Congress authorized the creation of the United States Mint, laying the foundation for all coins that followed. Some collectors highlight that connection when talking about modern quarters, especially in educational or commemorative contexts. While no actual 1791 quarter exists, the symbolic tie between 1791 and later coins like the 2001 Vermont quarter adds to the sense of history behind these collectibles. So what is the current market value today? As of right now, circulated 2001 Vermont quarters generally have little to no premium above face value. Uncirculated examples may sell for $1 or $2. High-grade certified examples in mint state 66 to 68 range from about $50 to more than $1,000. Proof versions with deep cameo contrast may sell between $15 and $50 depending on the grade. Major mint error coins, however, are where the real money lies. Prices can range anywhere from $100 to several thousand depending on rarity and demand. That if you are searching through your change or coin rolls, keep your eyes open. The tiniest difference in detail can mean the difference between 25 cents and a life-changing find. Always check for sharp strikes, luster, doubling, or unusual shapes. And if you believe you have something rare, consider having it professionally graded and authenticated. The value of a coin depends on rarity, demand, and condition, and serious collectors pay top dollar for certified pieces. To wrap it up, the 2001 Vermont quarter dollar is part of one of the most popular coin programs in United States history. While most are only worth face value, high-grade specimens, proofs, and mint error coins can be worth a lot of money. The story connects back to the very origins of the United States Mint in 1791, reminding us that every coin in our hands carries a piece of history and sometimes even a hidden fortune. We're diving deep into a coin you probably have in your pocket right now, the 2016 D quarter. We're going to cover the full story, the designs the U.S. Mint released in 2016, which Denver minted quarters to check, the error types that can suddenly make a quarter worth real money, and what the current market looks like in 2025. If you like treasure hunts and coin mysteries, smash that like button and let's get into it. First, a quick history refresher so we're all on the same page. In 2010 the U.S. Mint began the America the Beautiful Quarter program, a series that ran through 2021 honoring national parks and historic sites across the states, territories, and D.C. In 2016 the program released 5 different reverse designs. The 5 2016 designs honor Shawnee National Forest, Cumberland Gap National Historical Park, Harpers Ferry National Historical Park, Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and Fort Moultrie at Fort Sumter National Monument. These are the designs you'll find on 2016 quarters, and each design was struck at multiple mints during the year, including Denver where the coins carry the D mint mark. United States Mint +1. Okay, now the money question, are 2016 D quarters valuable? The short answer is usually no. Most circulated 2016 D quarters are still worth face value, maybe a small premium if they're in exceptional condition. That's because these coins are modern and were produced in very large quantities. But the long answer, the fun answer, is yes. Some 2016 quarters and certain varieties or errors can be worth a surprising amount. It all depends on rarity, strike quality, grade, and whether the coin has an identifiable mint error that collectors prize. USA Coin Book NGC Coin. Let's break it down by type so you can check your change like a pro. Normal business strikes and high-grade pieces. Most 2016 D business strikes, the regular quarters you find in circulation or in rolls, trade for little more than face value unless they are graded at very high mint state numbers. A slabbed, certified MS-67 or MS-68 Denver strike can fetch a modest premium online, think tens of dollars rather than hundreds or thousands, depending on demand and current market trends. For example, Price guides and recent sales show MS67/MS68 examples commonly being offered in the low tens to a few dozen. If you have a coin that looks flawless and mirror-like, it's worth getting a professional opinion or submitting it for grading, but don't expect instant fortune. Price Charting Bay Proof and Silver Issues Proof coins and the San Francisco Silver Proof issues are different. Some 2016 proof coins, especially the San Francisco 90% silver proofs, were produced in much smaller mintages and are sold in mint sets. These coins typically carry higher collector interest and modest premiums. Proof examples in flawless PR70 or deep cameo qualities have recorded sales at modest prices in recent years. Though these are not multi-million-dollar items, they are appealing to collectors who want perfect condition pieces for a set. If you have a 2016 S silver proof from the mint set, that will usually be worth more than an average circulation quarter. PCGS United States Minter coins and varieties to watch for. This is where things get exciting. Error coins and unusual varieties are the only 2016 quarters that can reliably go from pocket change to serious money. Some of the main error types collectors hunt for on modern quarters include double die obverse or reverse, die clashes, broad strikes, off-center strikes, die break/strike-through errors, and planchet or composition anomalies. Specific 2016 Denver pieces have turned up with die clashes or struck-through grease errors that sellers and collectors list for hundreds to thousands online, but remember, every claimed, rare error needs verification, because error lookalikes and cleaning/alteration can mimic rarity. If you think you have an error, get it authenticated by an expert or a grading service. Coin Value Checker Bay real-world examples and price ranges to ground this in reality. Here are some general market examples based on recent sales and price guides. A typical circulated 2016 D Fort Moultrie or Harper's Ferry quarter will trade around face value up to a few dollars in ungraded, nice condition. Certified MS67 examples might show up in the $20 to $50 range depending on buyer interest. San Francisco silver proofs and pristine proof coins can command their own premiums. Some PR70 silver proofs have sold in online auctions for modest sums. Rare verified error pieces have been listed for several $100s to a few thousand depending on how dramatic and verified the error is, though extremely high asking prices should be treated skeptically until a verified sale occurs. Use price guides and completed auction records to judge real market value. Price Charting PCGS YouTube. How to spot the valuable ones in 60 seconds. First, check the mint mark. The little d behind Washington's ribbon means Denver. Next, examine the coin under good light and 10x magnification if you have it. Look for doubled letters or doubled images, odd raised metal lines that shouldn't be there, die clash or die crack, off-center images, or missing features that expose the planchet. Don't rely on photos alone for high-value claims. Many dealers and eBay listings show coins with claimed errors that are just damage or post-mint alteration. If you find something weird, preserve the coin in a holder, don't clean it, and get a second opinion from an experienced dealer or a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. These services can authenticate and grade both condition and certain error types, and a verified slab often sells for significantly more than an unverified claim. Coin Value Checker PCGS grading, authentication, and where to sell. If you believe you found a high-grade specimen or a true error, submitting it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading is the gold standard. Authentication will tell you if the coin's oddity is a true mint error or just post-mint damage. Once graded, use completed sales on auction sites and specialist coin marketplaces to estimate current market value. If you're selling, prefer platforms with buyer protections and transparent sale histories. If you're buying, study seller feedback and completed sale prices rather than just the listing price. Auction records and price guides give the best picture of what buyers actually pay. PCGS Price Charting. Common scams and cautionary tips. Modern coins can be deceptively easy to enhance. Don't pay big money for an alleged rare 2016 D double die without seeing a verified certification. Beware of cleaned coins being passed off as mint state, and always check the coin's surfaces for tool marks or unnatural reluster. Ask for provenance and grading when the price is high. If a listing screams, one of a kind, but the seller won't allow independent authentication, walk away. Verified auction results from reputable houses are the safest benchmark. eBay price charting. Why collectors still care about 2016 D quarters even though they are modern. These quarters are part of a beloved thematic program, America the Beautiful, that appeals to both topical collectors and those building state or national park sets. For many people the thrill is the hunt, spotting a rare error in ordinary change, completing a set with perfect examples, or finding a proof silver coin in a long box of old collectibles. The combination of historical interest, attractive reverse designs, and the possibility of errors keeps demand stable enough that exceptional pieces will always have interested buyers. Wikipedia United States Mint final checklist before you spend, sell, or submit. Look for the D Mint mark and confirm the design, one of the 5 2016 ATB designs. Examine under magnification for doubling, die cracks, or strike anomalies. Don't clean or polish. Photograph the coin clearly from both sides. Check completed sales on auction sites and price guides to set a realistic value. If the coin looks mint state or shows a serious error, consider third-party grading for authentication. And finally, when in doubt, talk to a trusted dealer or local coin club. Most collectors love helping identify interesting finds. We are diving into the fascinating world of modern United States coinage and focusing on one of the most talked about coins of the past few years, the 2020 quarter dollar. These coins might look ordinary at first glance, but believe me, some of them are worth much more than just 25 cents. To understand the value of the 2020 quarter, we first need to know the background. In 2020, the U.S. Mint released several different quarter designs as part of the America the Beautiful program honoring national parks and historic sites. Among them were the National Park of American Samoa, the Weir Farm National Historic Site, the Salt River Bay National Historical Park, the Marsh Billings Rockefeller National Historical Park, and the Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve. Each of these designs carries the P Mint mark if struck at the Philadelphia Mint. While millions were produced in Philadelphia, collectors soon discovered that certain varieties and error coins were commanding huge premiums. The American Samoa quarter, sometimes called the bat quarter because of its striking design of a Samoan fruit bat and pup, gained instant popularity in 2020 not only because of the unique image but also because of the timing. The release coincided with the global pandemic and the bat design became symbolic to many people. Because of this, collectors started hoarding high-grade versions, especially those graded mint state 67 and above. Now let's talk money. A regular circulated 2020 quarter you might find in pocket change is usually worth face value, but if it is uncirculated, fresh from a mint roll, or graded by a professional service, it can bring a few dollars to even $20 depending on condition. A perfect mint state 68 or proof like example can push into the hundreds of dollars in some cases where there are known error varieties such as off-center strikes, doubling on the lettering, or die cracks. Values can easily climb into the thousands. One of the standout finds from 2020 quarters involves the American Samoa bat quarter with a striking die chip error which collectors nicknamed the drooling bat variety. That single quirky error made headlines because examples were selling online for $50 to $100 each and sometimes more depending on the size of the die chip. The Weir Farm design from 2020 also has its own following because some examples have been certified in ultra-high grades that are incredibly hard to find out of the Philadelphia Mint. The reason is that Philadelphia coins often suffer from weaker strikes and bag marks, so a pristine specimen graded MS-68 can easily sell for several $100s at auction. When it comes to current market values, as of now, a standard 2020 quarter in circulated condition is still just worth 25 cents. A bright uncirculated coin might fetch $1 to $3. Error coins like off-centers or dramatic die breaks will bring anywhere from $20 to a few $100s. The most desirable examples remain those certified by PCGS or NGC at MS-68 or higher, where prices have been recorded in the hundreds to over $1,000 depending on the demand at the time. So what should you be looking for if you have rolls of 2020 quarters sitting at home? First, examine the coin under a magnifier. Look for any doubling, especially on the lettering or date. Check for cuts, die cracks, or chips on the bat quarter, and keep an eye out for off-center strikes or coins that look misaligned. If you find One in pristine untouched condition, consider sending it to a grading service because that can multiply its value to wrap it up. The 2020p $quarter coins are a perfect example of how modern change in your pocket can still hold hidden treasures. While most of these coins will only ever be worth 25 cents, the small percentage of errors and high-grade survivors continue to sell for big money. If you are a collector, or even a casual treasure hunter, always check your coins because you never know when one might turn out to be a valuable find. That's it for today's video on the 2020p $quarter. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and value, make sure to like, subscribe and share so more people can discover the hidden worth of their change.